Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV. Sorry, I'll just be back in a sec. Brian, take it over.
Yeah. So that's just typical. Good morning, everyone. So Ben was in the queue waiting for a call. There was a few in the list, and we were just going to go, and then I was going to have a quick chat, and then we go live, and on he comes. So good morning, everyone. We're going to have a good morning, Tottenham. The run of play for today is momentarily. I'm going to give an update on our beloved Bobspur. Then we're going to go straight into the Conte press conference to hear what he's got to say, all things building up to Chelsea. And then we'll do the pre-match and get the fan show going. So, as I said, update on our beloved Bobspur. So I have a little bit of news to tell. But before I say it, just to let you guys know, I'm just going to repeat this. Kim, Tammy and myself have always said when there will be an update, we will update you. Obviously, with New Year and everything, there hasn't been much to say, so that's why there wasn't anything mentioned yesterday. And be aware that obviously the second we know things, we let people know immediately. We're not hiding anything from you or plan to. So if you don't hear anything, don't think that there's been a decline or an improvement. There's just no news to tell. So the news I can tell you this morning is I've spoken to Tammy. So his oxygen levels had been going down when he's laying on his back, and it had gone down to as low as 55%. And when I say his oxygen levels, I mean his dependency on the ventilator. So that was going good, but unfortunately throughout the night, it shot back up to 75. So he's still on his back, and as we've all said or told you, it's because of the pressure he's putting on his lungs when he's constantly on his back, and he's trying to get rid of all the crap in his lungs from the pneumonia. So when he's on his stomach, it's a lot better. But they keep saying at the moment this is to be expected. It goes up and down, and because of New Year and the bank holiday yesterday, the doctors are a little bit lighter on the floor than they are normally. So there is a doctor obviously back in there today, and they will be getting round to Bob, but it won't be till probably later afternoon, early evening, or even mid-evening. So we are expecting to hear from them, hopefully, if they're not too busy, some point this evening. And we will either update you if there is an update in the evening. We'll release something via social media or people in our WhatsApp groups and the family. If not, we will get something out to you tomorrow and as soon as we've heard. So that's the current update on Bob. That's where we're at. And now, Sam, we're going to cut into the Antonio Conte press conference, and Ben and I will both be back to discuss it and talk all things Chelsea. Sam, when you're ready, buddy.
Hello, Antonio. Nice to see you again.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Happy New Year to you.
To you. Thanks.
Yeah, so to start with the team news, any injury updates or COVID updates you might have?
We are checking a couple of situations, and we'll see. But we are checking a couple of situations about COVID.
Oh, COVID players?
Yeah, players. Yeah.
Can you say who or not?
No, but we didn't do this in the past, and I think that we continue to do in the same way.
Just find me on team news. By a couple, you mean two?
No, we are checking. We are checking a couple of situations, and but we are not sure 100% that they are going to miss the game.
Yeah, because in pure English, a couple usually means two players. Is it more than two?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you about the return to Stamford Bridge, and it looks as though Romelu Lukaku probably won't be available to play. Is that good news for Tottenham?
But I think that it is always a good thing when to play against a team that is he can all the players are available. I think that for the people that watch the game, I think that it's good to see the best player on the pitch.
Romelu, you know very well, you like a lot as a man. Do you feel sorry for him, the criticism that he's getting and the punishment that he seems to be getting? Do you have sympathy for him? He's always very honest. He tries to be honest, I guess.
But honestly, and I'd like don't speak about Romelu, and because Romelu now is a player of another team, and I think it would be disrespectful to speak about him and also about Chelsea.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gary. George Cummins, please.
Thanks, Anthony. Antonio, you mentioned the COVID cases. Are you confident still that this won't impact on the game and the game will go ahead?
Yeah, but we are living with this situation, and not only Tottenham, but I think all the clubs, and we have to be ready to find always the right solution, and the best solution for the team. For sure, it's not simple. It's not simple for every coach to change the plan, the plan that you have in your mind, and especially when you play many games in a short time, and your mind, and you make a plan, and then sometimes you arrive, and players are positive, and you have to change totally your plan. It's not easy, but not only for me. I think for all the managers here.
I know you don't want to talk about Romelu Lukaku, but can I just talk about yourself going back to Stamford Bridge? What are you looking forward to? Do you expect to get booed as you're a rival manager now, or are you looking forward to going back?
But for me, for sure, it would be great to come back to Stamford Bridge, also because this is the first time after I left Chelsea as manager to come back in Stamford Bridge. What I can say that I spent 2 amazing seasons. I created a lot of friendship into the club. We did a really important, a good job, and then also I enjoyed to work there, and also because I had to tell thanks to Chelsea, because they gave me the possibility to to work in England, and not work in England, and to have my first experience in England. And but now for sure I'm the manager of Tottenham, and I want to give this club 100% and more for this club, to try to improve the team. Yeah, and it'll be good. It'll be good, and for sure I'll have emotion to come back to in Stamford Bridge.
Thanks, George. Ian Abrahams, please.
Thanks, Anthony. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Antonio. How are you? You well?
I'm fine, thanks.
You've just spoken about your returning to Chelsea, but because of the way things are, I think only really Cesar Azpilicueta is there from the time that you were at Chelsea. I mean, players, the turnover of players is so many. So how special will it be for you to walk through the gates and maybe not see so many faces that you know?
But as I said to you before, and I spent two seasons where I created a good relationship with players, with the staff, with the people that worked with Chelsea, and as I said to you before, we did a really good job, and I think in my position I mustn't prove anything to anyone, and I'm a manager that I had experience. I continue that to have experience in my career, and to continue to do an important job in other teams, and yeah, it will be a pleasure for me to come back in Stamford Bridge, because I repeat, I spent two important season with Chelsea, and I left a lot of good relationship with the players that they are continuing to play in Chelsea. It will be good for me to see them.
And what about the importance of actually winning this trophy? I know you're still going to get past Chelsea, but you know, Spurs haven't won anything for a very long time, and you know that's why you've been brought in, to win things. It's what you do. That's what you are, a manager who wins things. So what about the importance of this semi-final, because you want to win this trophy and give Spurs their first silverware in in what, nearly 2 decades.
Yeah, I think that for everyone is always very important to win trophies, and for the club, for the players, for the managers. Yeah, but in one hand, I for sure I have to tell you this. In other hand, I think that you have to build the win trophy, because you can win trophies because only to speak and to tell, okay, and I want to win, and then you have to be good to build something ready to win. I think in this moment that Chelsea is more ready than now to win, and they won last season Champions League. I think that we have a lot of space for improvement to become a team that can have the aspiration to win. Then for sure we'll do everything to try to reach the final in this trophy. But I repeat, and to use this verb or this word win is more simple and to tell than to win, because I repeat, to win you must be prepared. You have to build something important. You have to be solid. You need to have an important squad, and then you are ready to win. Otherwise, you have to hope. You have to hope, and to hope in the work that we are doing, and you have to hope to do something of outstanding.
Thanks, Ian. We'll go Rob Guest and then Jonathan Veal, please.
Hi, Antonio.
Hi.
Over the past few games, Steven Bergwijn and Ryan Sessegnon have been messing through injury. How are they doing in terms of their recovery, and is there a chance they could be involved on Wednesday night?
Ryan Sessegnon and his situation is better than Steven Bergwijn, and I think that he is almost ready to be available. I think in the next game in FA Cup he will be available. For Steve, I think that we have to pay a bit of more attention, because his problem was in the calf, and with the calf you have to pay. We had to pay more attention and to wait a bit before to have him again available.
As we've seen now, a number of clubs hit by COVID in recent weeks. Does COVID now have an impact on your January transfer plans in terms of potential outgoings?
I think that COVID or not COVID, and if you have to do something, you have to do, and not because there is COVID or not COVID. And but about this topic, and we'll try to take the best decision with the club, and yeah, we'll try to see what we can do.
The last one in this section, Jonathan Veal, please.
Hi, Antonio. Can I just clarify about the COVID players? Are those players waiting on a PCR test tomorrow to see whether they will be available at Chelsea?
Yeah, but we have to check, and also during the day if there are new positives or not, and we are checking a couple of situations, and then tomorrow we'll see the players that are available to play the game against Chelsea.
You just mentioned the transfer market there. Are you expecting any business to happen fairly soon, either players coming in or players leaving?
No, but my expectation and my expectation is to speak with my club, and then to tell them my opinion. This is only my expectations. Then the club now, after I speak to the club, but the club will make the decision that they want to make. And I repeat, I'm a manager, and I'm in a position that I have to make evaluation. It happened, and now I'm waiting to speak with the club to tell my opinion. Then the club has to take the best decision for the present and for the future. And the situation is very simple.
All right, I am back, and that was every word that Antonio Conte did say in preview to the Chelsea game tomorrow night under the lights at Stamford Bridge. We're going to be there, and it promises to be a big one. From that, I mean, great news on kind of Sessegnon working his way back from fitness. He'll be back for the FA Cup game. Bergwijn seems to be out from what he's saying, and obviously still Romero as well. Any takeaways from you? What did you make out of the press conference? I mean, it's always great hearing Antonio speak, isn't it?
It is. And obviously the questions come up about him going back to Chelsea. They were always going to come up, and obviously hearing that, he just talks. It doesn't matter what he's talking about. You just listen. With Nuno and Ryan Mason, we're falling asleep, but with this guy, it's like you just hang on to every word he's saying, and he handles the media so well. That's the takeaway from it I get.
He's talking about, obviously, we brought the news yesterday that Spurs could potentially have a few COVID cases going into the game. Obviously, it's unconfirmed reports. It's unconfirmed who the players could be. But we brought you a report saying yesterday it could be Kane and Lloris, but that seems to be wide off the truth. And the player that it looks likely it could be is Eric Dyer, which means Joe Rodon most probably will come in and play in that centre-back role tomorrow, which we'll get into a bit more in the Tottenham update. But also what I wanted to talk about is Matt Doherty. It came out last night by a few reliable sources that Matt Doherty is subject to a bid from Wolves to go back to Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, go back to the COVID one. I hadn't heard about that being dire, so that's news to me. Yeah, this one with Matt Doherty spread like wildfire last night, wasn't it? It was just like one moment it was all quiet, and the next minute it was rampant with people talking about it. I think it's a win-win for both teams, because obviously he goes back somewhere he knows he's going to get regular first-team football. Wolves are actually playing a nice brand of football.
They are.
With
They
their
were
new
brilliant
manager
last night, weren't they?
Yeah, they really are, and fair play. And he's going to go somewhere where his family is settled. He knows the area, so I think it works out best for both parties.
Yeah, we paid about 12 million for him, but I think that we'll probably get max like 5-6 million, won't we?
That's what I was saying yesterday, right? It's at 50%, but obviously they're saying that Adama is not part of the deal. But then you've got to look at it. It looks little bit like Kevin KWP and Højbjerg that wasn't part of the deal and then kind of happened. So if this does happen, I believe there's like real legs behind Adama coming.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So, I mean, we'll bring you more information on the Doherty deal in the Tottenham update later today. Another thing that came out last night is that apparently Hugo Lloris is now very, very close to signing this new contract with a year deal with another year extension available as well. So that's music to all our ears, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what everyone has been wanting to wake up to hearing that this deal is getting a little bit closer. It needs to be done. It needs to be ironed out. So we can rest assured that he's with us for a considerable more time. He deserves the contract. He's warranted the contract. He's our leader, and it's music to our ears.
A lot of people are getting worried on the Hugo Lloris situation, but to tell you the truth, when I heard Conte talking about it last week, he was saying that Hugo loves Tottenham, Tottenham love Hugo, and he's confident that the deal's going to get done. I was pretty certain that the deal was going to get done after I heard those comments.
So I was pretty certain, but the thing that got me was we allowed the opportunity for French teams with him having the thought of maybe it is time to go home, and we could do nothing about it. That was the worrying thing. It's like, obviously, with me living in Canada, when I get the opportunity to come home, I can sniff it out. I'm like, oh, yeah, I could go home for a bit. And obviously, he's been here for a considerable amount of time. And if his family has said, you know what, we want to go back home, then you can't really argue with him for the service he's done. So that was the only doubt I had. If it had been a team in Spain, Germany, anywhere else, America, I wouldn't have been too concerned. But when you put that thought in that you can go home, it may have been too tempting. But it looks like he finds home as Tottenham and he loves Tottenham, so long may that continue.
Definitely. Super chat earlier on for Wolves Fi. I hope you enjoy Matt Doherty for the rest of the season, that's for sure. But he says, hey, Spurs, great win for us. We are race for what exactly I don't know, but we want points like bigger boys as well. And by the way, I disagree with Sim's comment. We are not mainly a counter-attacking team anymore like under Nuno. And to tell you the truth, I was super impressed with Wolves last night. Look, if you've been watching my perspectives and all that kind of stuff, you would see that I've been super impressed with Wolves all season, to be honest. But last night really showed what a good team you are. Ruben Neves and João Moutinho in the middle were absolutely unbelievable. And what a goal from João Moutinho as well. And I've never seen such hype around an Adama cross like that. That gets headed away for a worldie to be scored. But it is what it is at the end of the day. People want to cling on to something, don't they?
I know, but do you know what with Wolves as well? It's the same kind of thing with Vieira. They came into a club where they've been used to such a regimented brand of football, and they had a manager that was like a complete 180 to that brand. And they've brought in a few players here and there, but they've had to readjust the whole team to a brand new style of football, a brand new training regime, and they've both done very, very well. I mean, I did not know who this Wolves dude was. And he's impressed me. He really has. I mean, even when we played them second game of the season, they looked without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely true. Definitely true. Another super chat here from Howard, member for 15 months. Big up. Says, Happy New Year. Glad to be part of this community for this long. Too many more months. Hope we push Chelsea in. I mean, don't we all, mate? Don't we all, mate? And on that note, let's get on to the match preview. Chelsea against Tottenham, Carabao Cup semi-final, first leg. It's going to be a very interesting game. It's been reported that Chelsea are going to have to rest a lot of players because of fatigue and fitness. Spurs are rumoured to have some COVID cases. It remains to be seen what's going to happen. But on the Chelsea side, I think it's important to note that I expect, for one, Lukaku definitely to play tomorrow night. It's been talked about by Fabrizio Romano. He says that Tuchel and Lukaku and the board had positive meetings over the last 24 hours and that he trained very, very well. So I fully expect him to start tomorrow. Do you?
I expect him to start, but it's exactly what Lewis said yesterday when we did the preview with him. He, like we had with Harry Kane at the summer, he has to come in and set the world alight, because if he's not bang up to form, he's opened the trap door for fans to criticise, and so it depends what type of Lukaku we get. Now we know he can be a handful, he can be an absolute nightmare, and especially if Dyer is out, that is a key battle where Lukaku will really, really fancy himself. But he's got to come out firing, and let's hope we can stop that.
Yeah, most definitely. And when you look, and to be honest though, with Lukaku, I don't expect anything less than his A game tomorrow night. You know that he's going to come out, want to prove a point to the fans, to the club, with everything that's gone on over the past week or so. So I have no doubt in my mind Lukaku's going to come out and put in a really big performance tomorrow night. So it's going to be a difficult game, that's for sure. And when you're looking at the past performances, Spurs against Chelsea, the form, we're on terrible form against them. We're on absolutely terrible form. As you can see, we'll bring up the graphic for you now on your screen. But as you can see, we've taken 1 point against them in the last 5 games. But interesting enough, the last time we did beat them was in the 2020 season under Jose Mourinho. And it was in this same competition, wasn't it? We beat them on penalty shootout with Lamela dragging us there late on in the game. But I guess the omens are slightly good. The last time we beat them was in this tournament.
It was. I mean, also that was Reguilon's debut, wasn't it? He made He made one wild tackle, a lunge, and he got dummied, and the cross came in, and they scored.
He kept sliding, didn't he? Just never stopped sliding.
It literally. But then we saw for the first time when he made a huge run back to dispossess someone on a break. So we saw both sides of Reguilon. We also did it. Do you remember a good few years ago when Teddy Sheringham scored a couple in a 5-1 win at home? Just like we did with the Arsenal.
That was a semi-final as well, yeah.
That was a semi-final as well. So the semi-finals, or this cup, we're talking about our league form. In this cup, we seem to have the better form. But obviously our record at Stamford Bridge is beyond atrocious.
Although I think the last time we played them in the semi-final of this tournament, we lost, didn't we? I think that we beat them 1-0, I believe, in the first.
Oh, we
leg
went out on penalties.
White Hart Lane.
Yep.
And then we lost.
Thanks for raining on my parade.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we lost on penalties at Stamford Bridge. I'm not sure. Was that the day that Trippier scored that crazy own goal?
No, I know it wasn't that, because on that actual day, I was at Pearson International Airport coming back home.
Right.
That was in the league 2-0. That was just before the last North London derby that I came back for, when Aubameyang missed a penalty at Wembley.
Right.
So it was a few days before that. So that wasn't it, but that was like we said. I mean, I said it the other day. I remember listening to Gary Lineker scoring the winning goal at Stamford Bridge in 1990 on Capital Gold Radio. And then the next win was obviously when Dele and Eriksson scored, and that's been the only 2 league wins.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And we go there. This is a real bad place for us to go to.
Yeah,
but
it
hopefully
really is.
my first time there tomorrow will be a memorable one for the right reasons.
Yeah. And it's also a good omen that we're sitting in the lower tier tomorrow. Last time I sat in the lower tier at Stamford Bridge, we did win 3-1. And that's the game you were talking about as well. When you're looking at the form of the two sides, we'll start off with Chelsea. What do you think that has happened to Chelsea over the past month or so? I mean, they back end of last season won the Champions League. They looked unbeatable at times under Thomas Tuchel. Started this season, normal service resumed.
Yep.
They looked really strong. People were talking them about, title challengers. A lot of people were putting them down as their favourites for the title. Me and Sim as well, I think, in the preview to the season. They all said Chelsea are going to win the title this year because of the way they're playing their football. They looked like a really solid outfit. Defence really strong. Attacking well, but not really getting as many goals last season as they should have. Lukaku comes in at the beginning of this season. They start adding those goals to their game. But something's happened at Chelsea and the wheels have just fallen off and they're just nowhere near as solid and as strong as they were. What do you think's happened to them?
So, again, I can only go on what Lewis was saying. Lewis spoke, he's a great guy. And then obviously you heard him saying about the loss of Chilwell being absolutely massive. I mean, he is a great defender and then he's had a huge impact. Then, and I was listening to this yesterday with Kante as well. I think it was Terry on the Football Terrace was saying, listen, Kante, he doesn't win battles just because he's big and strong. It's his timing and reading of that ball. And when he's incredible. He's sublime. There's no one else like him on the planet. But when he's out, you can see what a big hole. And he's not as fit and ready as what he has been in previous seasons. So anyone that has a Kante out of their squad is massive. I remember when we went to the Chelsea game, my first game, it was 3-0.
That's a prime example of it, isn't it?
And that we played superb in the first half, went in 0-0. You went down to have a half-time drink. He came on in the second half, and by the time you come back 8 minutes later, we were 2-0 down.
That's a prime example, isn't it? Because we played really well in that first half.
Yep.
Probably the better side. I go down for half-time really happy. And then Kante comes on at half-time, and it's game over.
Yep.
Game over.
It was. He is unbelievable. I mean, obviously he was great at Leicester, but he just gets better and better and better. He's the heartbeat of that team. And then when you've got someone like Thiago who reads the game so well, his age is showing no signs. They've got a world-class spine. They've got world-class, but there is something in it. They've now lost Reece James as well, so they've lost a lot of creativity down the flanks, and it's showing.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, so true. The Spurs form coming into it, obviously, since Antonio Conte has come, we're unbeaten in the Premier League. We've lost one game in the Conference League to Mura, but definitely away form isn't the strongest, let's be honest. Since Conte's come in, we've had 3 away games in the league, 2 draws, 1 win, and that 1 win was a kind of last-minute, last-grab win against Watford. So when you're looking at the Spurs form, how do you assess it first of all, and would you rate our chances coming into a tough away game at Chelsea?
So the away form, let's be honest, it's been broken up because of the COVID outbreak. So that hasn't helped. Obviously, the 0-0 against Everton was his very first game in the Premier League. We kept a clean sheet, which was already an improvement. The style of play in the actual match was horrible, but to get a clean sheet was great. Southampton was obviously a poor performance.
But we still did enough to win that game.
Exactly, and the goal should have stood, as we know.
2 goals.
And forgot about the second one. And then the Watford game, all right, it wasn't pleasing on the eye, but it's job done. Not convincingly, but we've played 3 away games, 2 clean sheets. All right, it's not against the greatest opponents, but there's positives you can take from it, and you've got to take it that unbeaten under Conte in the league. Yes, we would have liked a few more victories on the board, but it's the best start to a Spurs manager in Tottenham's history. What more can you say about that? But the away form does need to improve, and we need to find a way to beat this low block, because that's the stumbling block. And I think Watford, we were expecting them to come out all guns blazing, but seeing that they went low block, we just couldn't find a solution.
Yeah, definitely. When you're looking at the Chelsea squad, to look at what players are definitely out, I mean, Reece James ruled out, Christensen ruled out. I mean, it says Lukaku ruled out, but I think he's going to play.
Yep.
You've got Werner ruled out, apparently. Loftus-Cheek and Shabalala, both doubts, and Ben Chilwell definitely ruled out. So, I mean, that's big misses for them. When you're looking at Chilwell and Reece James, that's a massive way of how they play football. And when you look at when Chelsea were really flying this season, those 2 players were the players that were really producing for them.
Correct.
Chilwell was scoring time and time again, arriving late at the back post. James was doing the exact same thing.
Yep.
So it's going to be a massive miss for them, isn't it?
It's huge. I mean, they've got Alonso, and Azpilicueta has been a great servant to them. He's been a great servant to English football. But like Lewis again said, his legs are going. So the pace, and Alonso isn't exactly blessed with pace, is he? So if we can get some pace down those wings and just keep them back, there's a real opportunity there. But one of their players that was out that I'd taken an absolute minute, I love Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Love it. I mean, obviously he's not a regular starter, but I think he's a great player, and I thought he would have played this game, and he's another miss.
And another player who's missing, actually, which it didn't show on that graphic, was Mendy, the goalkeeper.
Yep.
With Kepa in goal, surely that's a big plus for us as well, because Mendy has been brilliant.
He has been amazing. He has been amazing. I remember he made a fantastic save from Salah from distance in the second half.
Yeah.
They almost collided with the post. It was a sensational save. And also that game I remember against Brentford earlier in the season, where he was just literally he was here, there, everywhere. He is a great keeper. Kepa obviously had that really bad period under Lampard. Also, he's known for this cup in the final with Man City when he wouldn't come off, and he won the penalty shootout for them. It's obviously a big plus for us not having Mendy, but Kepa has the potential to be a great goalkeeper on his day. So it is a positive for us, but it depends what Kepa comes out.
Yeah, that's very true. And a few stand-up players for Chelsea, the ones to watch. Jorginho has scored 6 goals this season. I mean, all of them penalties, I think. But Mason Mount, I've been really impressed with Mason Mount this season. He could have been accused last season for not having enough goals or goal contributions to his game, but he's really starting to add that this season. As you can see on your screen, 5 goals, 6 assists. And, he's performing really well this season, isn't he?
He's a great player. I mean, when Lampard took him to Derby, I was like, what you do? You obviously use your old club to get some players in. Didn't realise he was that good. Then obviously had a great season, did good for England in the Euros. And then started off with a bit of burnout, which you'd be expect. All these players have got such a long few seasons ahead because of COVID. And he's now coming right back into form, and he's a major, major concern for us. Major.
How are you looking at this game? Are you looking at this game potentially maybe, just come into this game, stay in the game until the home leg, and then do what we can do at home? Maybe a narrow defeat, a draw, or a slight victory. You know what I mean? Are you looking at just stay in the tie?
I'm going a little bit more positive. Get the win. I think it's going to be such a tight game. I've said my prediction, which I'll save till the end, but I think we've got to go for it. Because if you say, Joe, just try and stay in the game, you're letting Chelsea on top of you. And if we let Chelsea dominate, then it could be a real hard night for us. But I think we can take this game. You go through the list there, and you've got to capitalise on their weaknesses, which is a huge amount of their players out. A huge amount. And how often are you going to get this opportunity with that amount of players out?
Yeah, true. And when you're looking at it, we've got a game in the FA Cup on the weekend, so we can rest a lot of players that way against Morecambe. So you've got a game against Chelsea, and then basically whoever's playing against Chelsea surely gets a whole 7 days rest to when we next play Chelsea.
You would think so. I mean, I could see wholesale changes obviously for Morecambe, but I think he'll do what he's done before and just put a few big hitters on the bench just in case, because of the magic of the FA Cup, and we know what happens in the third round. But we should have enough. It should be enough to say, right, listen, sit down, relax. And who knows, there may even be a new player. I doubt it, but there may.
There might be a new player out the door, that's for sure,
Yeah.
with Matt Doherty impending exit. But even if Matt Doherty does go, maybe that leaves us with a lack of right-back options for the Morecambe game, unless Tanganga plays there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the option, isn't it? That's the only option. But I like I said before, I really think it may not be connected to this deal, but if that deal happens, I think Adama's like signed, still delivered. Whether it'll be in time for Morecambe or Chelsea, actually, I don't even know if he's played in the cups. So he might even be cup tied. But yeah, you've got Tanganga as there for cover for Morecambe, with no disrespect to Morecambe, but then we do need to bring a right back in or a right wing back.
How do we hurt this Chelsea side then? How do we hurt them? What formation do you reckon we're going to be playing?
So we'll have to see. It's hard for me because I prefer the 3-5-2. I think you get the best out of Harry Kane if you play 3-5-2. And if it is wider than Mark, and Kane hasn't got, obviously, and Kane does love a goal against Chelsea. We all remember his first game against Chelsea when he tore them apart at White Hart Lane and we won 5-3. He does love a goal against this lot. So it depends. What does Lucas Moura start? Because I think Lucas Moura can run at that defence and cause problems. Kovacic isn't exactly the most mobile person if he plays. So I think Lucas Moura could have a huge part to play in this game.
Yeah, I got a feeling it's going to be a similar formation to what we played against Liverpool with those three in midfield. I think that when you're looking at the Chelsea team, their midfield is bloody strong. Kovacic, Jorginho, Kante in the middle. So whatever formation they play, they're going to have a really strong midfield. So we need to beef up that midfield and make sure we don't get overrun in there.
Yep.
And I think adding that extra man in there can do a lot to help us. We need to have Son and Kane ready there so we can spring on them. Maybe Lucas can play in a kind of number 10 or kind of a deep, an advanced midfielder role, so we can utilise him a bit more. So we're very strong on that counter-attack. And he also can put a foot in as well, can't he?
He can, but as you were just saying, those three players that we just mentioned, you just mentioned for Chelsea, great players, great passing ability, great other attributes, but the one thing they're not, all three of them are blessed with his pace.
Well, Kante, he's got a bit of
pace and stamina. He's got an engine like no one else in the league. But I wouldn't say he's blessed with pace. Like if there's a foot race between him and Moura, or Moura and any of those three, then there's only one winner. So I think that is the one chink in that three's armour is the pace. If we can flood it and with Son running, that's a potential way to get through to him.
All right, well, that is our preview. Just before we move on, what is your score prediction for tomorrow
So
night?
I'm going to have to do two, because I've always said until he wakes up, I'm going to go with Bob Spur every single time and say 4-1 to us, but my actual prediction is 3-2 us.
3-2 Spurs. Ooh, that's going to be some head of a battle if it is 3-2 to Spurs. I'm going to go a bit more conservative. I'm going to go for 1-1 tomorrow night. And I think 1-1 would actually be a really good result to take back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So I'm going 1-1. Brian's going 4-1 and 3-2 to Spurs. But I want to know your predictions in the comment section below as well. But that is our match preview. But let's move on now and let's start bringing on some guests to see what you guys have to say on the big game tomorrow night. And let's start off with Mikey. How's it going, Mikey?
Hey guys, I don't know if you can. I can't hear you lot through the Wirecast. I can't hear anything. We're talking good until a few seconds before you brought me on, and now I can't hear you. My laptop's not muted. The Wirecast isn't muted. I just can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. So
can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can now.
Perfect. How you doing, Mikey?
I'm all good. How are you guys?
All good, mate.
Yeah,
I'm all good. I'm just I'm looking forward to the game. It's going to be a very interesting game, that's for sure. I'm kind of worried about the threat that Chelsea pose, because obviously even with their players out, if they do play Romelu Lukaku, he's unlike any other player that you have to defend against in the league. You know, he's incredibly mobile for someone of his size. I mean, obviously he's had his problems in the past, but I think at Chelsea his physique is much better than it was at Man United. They've got pace for absolute days down their wings. You know, Pulisic is one such example. They could even play someone like a Ziyech, who's an architect on the ball. I remember when we played Ajax in the famous two-legged tie, he tore us a new one in the first leg. So I think he's going to be... there's going to be a lot of difficult decisions for Tuchel to make with his squad, because it is wearing thin because of the... Mendy went to AFCON, and you mentioned all of their injuries, but I still think they have a very strong squad to trouble and hurt us. But I think we should be able to carve out an opportunity enough for us to win.
How do you see us setting up in this game? Are you looking at a 3-4-3 formation, or are you looking to beef up the midfield a bit and put 3 in there?
I wouldn't want to beef up the midfield, but we have to against Chelsea's N'Golo Kante is 2-man himself.
Yeah.
Like, he is their best player, no questions about it. He is the best defensive midfielder in the league, possibly in the world. But yeah, he's my only Chelsea player who our hands up say he's better than anyone else we have in our positions in the team, that's for sure, because he's just a wonderful player to have on your team.
Mikey, who do you see as our danger man? If you had to say, going into this game with the lineup you think we may go, who are the ones that you think that could actually hurt Chelsea?
Lucas Moura. I think he would. It all depends on if Chelsea decide to employ a low block or not, because they've seen in the last couple of games that that's an effective way of defending us. And unless Antonio Conte's found a solution to that, then it doesn't look like he's going to be. It doesn't look like he's going to beef up the midfield as much as we would like, because obviously, if you think about it, Højbjerg and Skip, they're really decent, but if he decides to play a 3-5-2 and play Kovacic, Jorginho, Kante, even Mount in one of the midfield roles, then we're going to have a bit of a problem. So if he's looking to overload the midfield, then Lucas Moura won't play. But I think if he does play Lucas Moura and we accommodate a formation that we think can beat Chelsea while playing Lucas Moura, I still think that they're going to employ a strategy that they've seen that works effectively against us, and that's a low block. So it might be hard for Lucas Moura to run at a defence that is just sitting exactly where he doesn't want them to be.
The thing is, though, with Lucas Moura, he more likes the ball into feet and likes taking on men. It's more Sonny who likes that space in behind. So maybe if they do sit a bit tight and a bit low, Lucas Moura can thrive in the game.
Maybe if Lucas Moura can take up a 10 role in behind, because I don't think if he starts on his normal right attacking midfield position, if we play a 3-4-2-1, I don't think he's going to be utilised most effectively there against the system that Chelsea will play. They'll obviously play a 5 at the back. That's Tuchel's way. He'll play Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, and whoever else they've got available.
They might be forced to play Azpilicueta at right wing back because they've got no options.
Yep.
Is Chalobah out as well?
I'm not. He's a doubt.
I think he was on that list.
Yeah, he's a doubt.
Okay then. Well, if Chalobah's out, then yeah, because Reece James is out, Chilwell's out. They'll be playing.
Alonso will be on the left.
Well, Alonso's a car crash of a defender anyway, so I think he'll.
No pun intended.
Oh shit! I forgot about that. No, I think if we did play, I think Chelsea's midfield will force us not to be able to play, because Lucas Moura up against Marcus Alonso is a match that I would love to. Is not a matchup. There's only one winner. He'll beat him every time. But with Chelsea's midfield, we'll probably be forced to play Kane and Son up front with a 3-man midfield of Højbjerg, Skip, and Winks, or not that defensive, but maybe Højbjerg, Skip, and someone else like Gio won't play. Dele Alli I wouldn't trust, and Ndombele is probably, him and Doherty are the two that are going to be sold this window. So it's probably going to be Højbjerg, Skip, Winks, 2 of those, and who else you play in that midfield 3? I'm not sure. Maybe even a Lucas Moura in a 10 role. But
I'm going to throw a curveball at you, Mikey, and at you. Do you reckon Conte could throw the curveball I've just mentioned and start Bryan Hill? Because no one will know how to deal with him.
I can't see it.
I think Bryan Hill's being safe for that Morecambe game.
Yeah,
I think
I'd agree with that.
I think Bryan Hill, because of how little we have in our forward department, with Conte saying Bergwijn probably won't be fit for the Morecambe game, Bryan Hill's a nailed-on starter for that game because we don't have many other wing options. So
he could start both. He hasn't really played.
Both. I just can't see him starting this Chelsea game. It's too big of a game, in my opinion. And I think that he's nailed on for the Morecambe game. I think that he's going to go with players that he really, really trusts in this game.
Yeah, it's a game against his former club. He'll be wary of that. So I think it's going to be there's going to be a setup of defense before attack for us. I think rather than playing the 3-4-2-1, which enables us to get forward more quickly because of the danger that Chelsea will pose. It will probably be a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2 even because Chelsea will control the game. It's the way they like to play. We almost prefer it when we're hitting teams on the counter because if Chelsea control the game, they're more likely to come out, and then if they give a sloppy ball turnover, we can steam forward like we like to do. Because in the last couple of games we've played against teams that have just sat back and said, "Nah, you know what? You're good. Just keep the ball in front of us." Whereas Chelsea like to have the ball in front of them, so it looks like. But again, it all depends on you do these match previews and you never really know what's going to happen until the lineup comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Let me ask you this. There's rumours last night that Eric Dyer is isolating at Hotspur Way. If he is isolating and the rumours are true, who goes into that centre-back, the centre of the centre-back roles, and how much of a miss will Eric Dyer be for us?
If Lukaku plays, Eric Dyer is probably the only man that can go toe-to-toe with him for strength because Davinson Sanchez, he's fast. He can come up with Lukaku for pace, but Davinson Sanchez will be brushed off like a butterfly against that man. Eric Dyer is very bulky in terms of his physicality. He's very physically strong. He's not the most gifted with pace, but his technical ability is good. His ball spraying will be key for us, and his physicality, the combined with the pace of Sanchez and the physicality of Dyer, should hopefully counteract the sheer presence of Romelu Lukaku. And Ben Davies given the license to roam a little bit forward like he likes to do. If Eric Dyer's out, it's a question of, and Romero's out as well, so that's Romero definitely won't play. So it looks like our two options are Japhet Tanganga or Joe Rodon. And
who do you see him picking?
I would prefer to see Japhet Tanganga play, but it will probably be because he sees Tanganga as a wide defender or even as a fullback replacement. Because obviously, if Doherty leaves and Sess is not going to be 100% fit for this game, then Tanganga will probably be utilised on the bench as a left wing back, right wing back / centre back replacement. So it'll probably be Joe Rodon. And I remember he made his debut against Chelsea in the 0-0 draw that we had in late 2020 in the league. So against Mourinho. So it looked like or 2019, I can't remember when it was exactly, but we drew 0-0 at the Bridge. So I think Joe Rodon was good then. He was. He's just, I don't know, he's not started enough games to warrant a start, but he needs Tanganga's versatility off the bench. So I would rather him play Tanganga or maybe move Sanchez into the centre or Tanganga to the right.
That's exactly what I was about to say, Mikey. That's exactly, I mean, not saying that that's my choice, but that's the options he's got. He either puts Rodon in the centre as a straight swap or he moves Sanchez in and puts that's exactly what I was about to say. I got
a feeling it will be Rodon. What's your gut telling you?
I think it will be Rodon. Listen, it's exactly what Mikey said. Rodon made his debut away to Chelsea. Yes, he made a couple of mistakes early, but he grew into the game, and you're only going to learn. And if we look at it, if it is that centre position, that Conte has actually come out and said Joe Rodon is cover for Dyer. Now, if Dyer is the one, and then he does move Sanchez in and Tanganga right, I think that's right on the wall for Rodon. Like, we think it is already, but I think that is writing on the wall for him. So if it is Dyer, and there was someone in the comments that said, listen, the most important thing is we need Dyer for the North London derby. I can't remember who it was in the comments, but that is, who would have thought we'd be saying that? But it's so very true. We need him for that game, and I would personally go for Rodon.
Interesting. Mikey, what's your score prediction going into the game?
Thinking, there's been a report that Lloris is another player that's one of the ones out with COVID as well.
Yeah. Is that confirmed reports or just...
No, not confirmed, but I've seen a lot of rumours on my Insta that it's Lloris and Dyer who are the two players that they're looking at. So without Lloris, we are... Who's our backup keeper now? It's Galini.
Dan Kilpatrick has said as of 19 minutes ago that Tottenham are still waiting on possible COVID cases ahead of tomorrow's clash. The results of the follow-up PCR tests on 2 players are expected today, with Spurs hoping to avoid another outbreak. So nothing confirmed as of yet.
If it is Dyer and Lloris, then Chelsea are laughing because Lloris has been imperious recently, and Eric Dyer is the key man in our defence, along with Arian's favourite Ben Davis. So I think if that's confirmed, again, until we get the COVID case result, but if we're going off the fact that everyone's going to be fit except Stevie and Ryan and probably Gio, then I'll say, like I said, I always predict when we go to the bridge, I predict it's always never been our friend at the bridge and only wants to be. And I think that was in Conte's second season when he was there that we beat them 3-1 at the bridge. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I predict it to be a pretty cagey affair, but for me, our chances are greatly improved if Romelu Lukaku doesn't play.
Yeah.
You say that. I've got to just say, and I wanted to say when we're doing the pre-game as well. With Lukaku, yes, if he starts, it's worrying, but I think a lot could also depend on the reaction he gets when he comes out. And his name's you see what it's like. If he gets, he's either going to get a big cheer of support or the exact opposite.
I tell you, if this was any other game apart from Tottenham,
he'd probably get the negative.
He might get the negative reaction. Might. I'm not saying he would, but because it's against Tottenham, because it's a semi-final, they're all going to want to be on the same side. So I have no doubt in my mind it's all going to be positive for Lukaku tomorrow.
We shall wait and see.
We shall wait and see. Mikey, a few more things I want to ask you about before you go. Matt Doherty. It's seen that last night there are a lot of kind of rumours from reliable sources that Matt Doherty is on his way back to Wolves. What do you make out of that?
Good. No, I think it's, I think there's enough said about Matt Doherty. If he goes out, then it kind of shows Conte's intent to make Emerson the backup because he's been tragic. I can't even lie. I was thinking about it. He's had a couple of good performances, but I remember even back to the Palace game when Zaha tore him a new one, time and time again. He's supposed to be a good defensive fullback, and I haven't even seen his defending be that on point. I remember I was watching the Southampton game and
You're talking about Emerson here, yeah?
No, I'm talking about Emerson Royale.
Yeah.
I haven't been convinced by him. He's supposed to be better defensively, which is definitely true. His attacking output has been... I mean, he was practicing crossing drills before the Watford game, and he still managed to look like it was his first time crossing a ball. New year, new me. Not for Emerson, unfortunately, but I still think if Conte really wants to implement his flying fullbacks like he did with Marcus Alonso and Victor Moses, then he's going to need a right back that can defend as well as Emerson can defend, but also attack much better than he can. I haven't been convinced by him. And if Doherty's going, then it kind of spells for me, if we buy someone new, the end of Emerson's time in the first team, because I'd love to see Manuel Lazzari come in from Lazio. I know we've been linked with him a couple of times, but he would be my preferred choice because I've seen him in. I don't watch much Serie A, but from what I have seen of Lazio, he's kind of key to their system, and I'd love for him to come in. But we've been linked with him a couple months ago, but that's a fairly ambiguous signing. But until then, it looks like Japhet Tanganga is going to be our right wing back cover again.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see us selling Matt Doherty if we don't bring in cover. I just can't see it. I don't think that's a viable option. I really don't, especially with Conte in charge. He's not going to let that happen. He's not. And I don't think he sees Japhet Tanganga as a wing back. I really don't. But the last thing I want to ask... Go on.
That Tanganga is not a wing back. I know he was good against Manchester City, but Manchester City weren't good that day. You know, they dominated us. But I mean, we had this hype. I remember when Tanganga pocketed Sterling, and everyone was like, "Oh, look, Tanganga, you know, he's a brilliant defender. Keep him there." And then I feel like the same thing kind of happened against Liverpool when Davis and Sessegnon pocketed Mo Salah. You know, you get that one game where they pocket an informed player or one of the best players in the league, and suddenly everyone's like, "Wait!" And then, I mean, Ben Davis has backed it up, to be fair, but then Sessegnon got his usual injury. So, I would love to see us. I would love to see us sign a new right back and make Emerson as like Emerson, because if you sign an attacking right back and a defensive one, then you've got cover. You know, if you've got one that's just mainly about the attacking, then you've got cover there, and then you've got Emerson. If we need defensive solidity, just bring him on and tell him to sit back and don't try and roam down the wing. But obviously that's not Conte's way. So it remains to be seen at right back, because we've had this trouble ever since Walker left. Trippier was good, don't get me wrong, but ever since Walker left, we've lacked that truly outstanding right back. Trippier's been good. I'd say he's a solid 7.5 out of 10 player. Always has been, always will be. Never sets the world alight. I know people will look to the World Cup semi-final, but it was a free kick. It wasn't an outstanding worldie. It was a free kick. So Trippier's never been. And then since then, we've gone through right back after right back. I think who did we play at right back after Trippier left? It was
Aurier,
and then Doherty, and then Emerson. It's just been one. I wouldn't call Emerson a dud just yet, because he could still be. But 30 million from Barca, I mean, you would have expected a lot more.
Yeah, it's early days, isn't it? I mean, you've got to also have a bit of patience from a young player coming over from a foreign league, first time in England. It sometimes takes these players at least a year to settle into the Premier League. So I would calm down a bit. And I think Emerson needs time. I really believe. Look at Kyle Walker. When he first came in and when he was at Spurs, he was terrible, making terrible mistakes at the back for us, terrible passes at times to put us into trouble. So use that as an example, because I believe that Emerson has got some attributes, and I think that he definitely needs some fight on that right-hand side, some competition. But I think he's got good attributes, and I think if we bide our time with him and be patient with him, I think he can turn into a good right back.
Well, you know what it is, what you said with Walker as well. I'm glad, because David Harris mentioned this first, and I keep using this as an example. We got 50 million for Kyle Walker. And rather going out and buying a quality replacement or a standard that was acceptable, as Mikey said, we have gone through so many right wing backs to try and fill this void, like what we're going to do with Eriksen. If we'd just gone and got the right back at the right time, and speculations to accumulate, then this may have been over. But it's because we just go through, once we get rid of a star for a considerable amount of money, especially a profit on what we got him for, rather than buying a ready-made to slot in and say, we go through this kind of conveyor belt of different players until we find the right one, and it damages the squad. And like you said, if we get rid of Doherty now, there just simply has to be. I mean, over under those circumstances, I think Conte, like you said, lets him go without a replacement being ready-made to come in. So we'll have to see that. But we keep using that with Kyle Walker, and David Harris always says this, and I always use this example because it's brilliant. In the fact that it proves the point that we just need to flex our muscles and buy the right replacement rather than the conveyor belt of trying to find the right one.
Yeah, absolutely spot on.
I've just seen someone in the comments of your live chat. I want to give a shout. I said Emerson's Peter Crouch at right wing back.
All right, Mikey, brilliant call. Thanks for coming on once again, and we'll see you very soon.
Yeah, I predict a 1-1 and then 2-1 back up, but that's next week anyway. But I think we'll draw, like I said, nothing special at Stamford Bridge, and then really turn it on in the home game. That's what I hope for anyway.
All right. Come on, you Spurs.
See you later, Mikey.
Bye, guys.
Bye, mate.
See you later. Is there anyone else? No one else. All right, so I think we're going to end it there. No one else in the back end. So what else you got to expect from us is a predicted lineup coming your way today, a Tottenham update coming your way, the Premier League's perspective coming your way today as well. So another action-packed day of content on We Are Tottenham TV ahead of the big semi-final first leg tomorrow at Stamford Bridge. Any closing words from you, Brian?
Yeah, no, just I'm really, really, like I said, I didn't get to go to Southampton away with you, which really annoyed me because I really wanted an away day with you and Sim, and then obviously Sim had to be in the studio, then I got ill.
He's ill.
non-COVID with me. But yeah, I've never ever been to Stamford Bridge. I said it before, and what time to go with your good self. So that's all good. And then yeah, that's what I've got to say. The final thing is obviously just get well, Bob, brother. Get well, Bob.
Exactly. That's the most important thing out of everything. We need you, Bob, back in this studio. We need you back on the streams. So get better as soon as possible, Bob. I can't stress that enough. And obviously, everyone go and subscribe to We Are Tottenham on Tour. Well, Tottenham on Tour is what I mean. Tottenham on Tour.
Yeah, I'll do a quick thing now. I just want to thank everyone that is here in the chat and will watch this later, because I came over here and came on the show with you. Yeah, it was you. Yeah, it was you on Christmas Eve, and we're at 840 something. Well, now we're 10 away from 1400. We had both.
No, it was Sim Christmas Eve.
No, it was you. It was New Year's Eve. I was with Sim.
Oh, okay.
So we are so close to 1400. My mission is to try and get us to 2000 before I go back to England, whenever that may be.
Get this man to 2000.
There's
Come on,
the mission,
guys.
but yeah. Also, that's the plan. Also, Brian Ireland does another pod called the North End Pod, which is just talking Premier League. Obviously, they talk Spurs, but it's with a host of other people. They're good guys, and they have just started, and they're very close to 100. So any help with that? But just guys, thank you for all the support you give us. Obviously, to these boys, they've got the 100k, and they're just a mothership. But any support you can give us would be fantastic. And thank you for the guys that already do support us. We really appreciate it.
All right, big up everyone. Keep subscribing to We Are Tottenham TV. As always, I know the family, the community is very strong. And also everyone in the chat now. We've got 880 people. Every single person, get over to Tottenham on Tour and give it a subscribe. It's an amazing channel with amazing people. So yeah, let's go. That's it from us for this morning. We'll be back very soon with a predicted lineup video. So thank you everyone for joining today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on you Spurs.